This is CFO IQ. Hi, I'm Andy Zizas, host of CFO IQ, publisher of CFO Intelligence Magazine, and chief strategist and CEO at Real Estate Strategies Corporation. Here on CFO IQ, we talk with forward-thinking CFOs from exciting enterprise and middle market companies, as well as some highly accomplished subject matter experts. Our goal is to bring you experience-based intelligence and the insights of highly accomplished CFOs and others to help you acquire, understand, and use knowledge, make you a more successful CFO, and to increase your CFO IQ. Welcome to CFO IQ. We're glad you're here. Hello, everyone. Welcome to CFO IQ. I'm your host, Andy Zizas. On today's show, I'm joined by an impressive finance executive with a very diverse background. Joining me today is Dan Crumb, Executive Vice President and CFO of the Kansas City Chiefs. Today, Dan and I will discuss how the Chiefs plan to build on a successful track record. Dan, welcome to CFO IQ. It's so great to see you again. I'm so glad you could join us.
Thank you, Andy, for having me on the show. And it's just a pleasure to be here and to be on your show again. And
let's talk about building on a successful track record. And the Chiefs have had a tremendous track record. That goes without saying. 4 Super Bowl wins, phenomenal team, phenomenal coaching staff, and not too bad of a finance staff, I guess, too, huh?
I'm blessed. I have a great team, and we do some really special things here, and it's without the people, we don't get it done. But we've been truly blessed, both on and off the field. Andy, these past few years, it's been a great run for us, and we want it to continue, obviously. But it's everybody pulling in the right direction to make it happen.
You mentioned earlier in your comments about success, and while the Super Bowl is the Super Bowl, there's an awful lot of people who say getting to the Super Bowl is success, and all the wins that come throughout the season is a tremendous success. So there's no doubt that your fan base is solid, your fan base is loyal, probably among one of the most loyal fan bases in the league. And I think they'd agree with you that there's an awful lot of successes that happen throughout the season with the Chiefs, and getting to the Super Bowl in and of itself is a tremendous success. So,
yeah, and I think, and you really hit on something about our fan base, that they are loyal. And one of the things that I've just been so happy about winning some Super Bowls and having this level of success is just that we've been able to reward our fans who have been so loyal and give them something that they're really proud of, and that it's just a source of pride and a source of joy for the entire region. So it's really important to us as an organization to be able to deliver to our very loyal fans who have been with us for 60 plus years. So,
and the fan experience is evolving as well too at Arrowhead Stadium, right? So talk to me about that, because you spoke a lot about the fans and their experience and how important that is to the Chiefs. Talk about things like mobile apps, cashless transactions, Wi-Fi upgrades, virtual reality, augmented reality, all the things that are coming online or are already here, some of which is now coming online, and how the Chiefs are capitalizing on those kind of technologies to continue to enhance the fan experience.
Sure. So I'll start with what you started with, cashless transactions. Cashless, we're a completely cashless building, from parking to concessions, merchandise, even our 50-50 raffle. Everything is cashless. It's all credit card. So that's a convenience for our customers, our fans. So they don't have to worry about bringing cash in or going to an ATM or anything like that. They just bring their credit card and they're set. So it's really improved, it's improved the speed of transactions. It's improved the experience for our customer. They don't have to worry about having cash, or, I don't have enough cash to do this or that, So I think that's been a real big lift for us. And I think we've seen our fans have enjoyed that, having to come in with a credit card and not have to worry about that. Our Wi-Fi, we typically upgrade our Wi-Fi system, about every 4 to 5 years. And that's replacing all of the access points and all the equipment, the controllers that control it and make it work. We've just recently upgraded our DAS, our distributed antenna system, for our cell service. So We have essentially right now we have our upper bowl. We've replaced all our APs on our access points on our Wi-Fi system, and next year, next February, we're going to replace the entire club level and lower bowl. So all those access points. So it'll essentially be a brand new Wi-Fi system by next spring, summer, and our DAS system is essentially new as well. And so what that does is it connects our fans to the outside world. So now they don't have to worry about coming into the stadium and not being connected, and they can upload their photos, their videos, they can check their fantasy stats, they can do all those things, which we see a lot of during concerts. We see a lot of that during our special shows and events where fans want to take videos and they want people to know they were here for that concert. And
not only that they were there, but that they are
yeah,
there.
exactly that they are there. So, so we put as I mentioned earlier, that we reinvest, and those are things that we reinvest in, and we make sure that we've got the best. Our systems are up to date, and because it's part of the fan experience. It used to be years ago, you'd go to a stadium and you weren't connected to anything. You were just watching the game. Now they demand that. They want to be connected to the outside world, and they want to be able to show they're here, post videos, post photos, and check their stats and things like that. So that's really important for us as a critical part of the fan experience. But other things, and the cashless too, but other things that we really focus on fan experience is making sure that we get our fans into the stadium on time. So we want all of our parking lots, our parking gates and toll gates cleared well before kickoff, and we want all of our entry gates cleared before kickoff. So that means all of our fans are in the building, they're in their seats, and they don't miss anything. And we really encourage them to come in early. And so to that effect, we created a tailgate district. So we have tailgating is huge in our culture here and in our parking lots anyway. But for those fans who don't want, or who don't have a tailgate setup, we have a tailgate district where they can have food and drink, and there's music playing and things like that. And then we also introduced a couple of years ago these tailgate suites that are self-contained. It has an indoor, so when it's really cold, you can go inside, or if it's really nice outside, you can go outside. It has a grill attached to it and things like that. So
This is in the parking lot?
It's in our parking lot. It's in our tailgate district. Yeah. So
when can I come to Arrowhead Stadium?
Whenever you got an open invitation, Andy, you need to come. We need to have you here. You can do your show live from Arrowhead.
That's tremendous. I love the idea of tailgate zone, tailgate district, and the setup that you have. I don't even have to bring a barbecue. That's awesome.
You don't have to. If you want to rent one of those, you can come in and do that. And it's a great thing for us and for our fans. And we listen to what our fans want us to do, and we want to make this as great a game day experience so that it's very memorable, and they want to keep coming back and they want to be part of it. So those are just a few things that we do for our fan experience. We also, at various times, like during the playoffs, we'll have entertainers. We have our drum deck, which is where we beat our drum before each game. And up on the drum deck, we have entertainers. So like for one of our playoff games, we had Big and Rich come up there and perform. We've had Big Boy come up and perform. We've had Lil Jon. We've had Fat Joe. We've had, you name it. We've had Nelly. We've had all sort of different performers up there and performing. And it's something our fans just really love. They love to see that live entertainment aspect at halftime. So
and those live performances are just provided by the Chiefs as a courtesy, or is it separate ticketing?
No, that's provided for all fans. We do that as a courtesy to our fans, and we do it during the playoffs because it's special. We want to really amplify things during playoffs and let our fans know that, hey, this is a special game. Not every team is playing today, and we're playing and you're part of it. We appreciate you being here, and we're going to provide you with a great show that you're going to just really enjoy, and during halftime, and you're going to have fun watching.
Well, Dan, that bundle of accoutrements, if you will, between the tailgating and the tailgate district and the shows, it ties brilliantly into what you said a few moments ago, that you want to get your fans into the stadium early, and sure sounds like great reasons for them to show up. But I want to ask you this. I mean, this stuff costs a lot of money, right? It's not just new bleachers. You're talking about tremendous investments in technology. You're talking about infrastructure investments. You're talking about entertainment investments. Well, this is expensive stuff. Talk to me about capital expenditures. How where the revenue comes from to generate this, to be able to pay for these kind of expenses. And you mentioned partners also, but how do you fund all these improvements, and how does that change as interest rates fluctuate as well?
Right. So what we look at is we're very planning oriented, and we try to plan out a number of years ahead. And so we always come up with a plan of, these are the big projects we would like to do. Here's the cost associated. And we really set up a plan. We try to stay away from borrowing or hitting our revolving line of credit. We really tend to be more of savers, like, okay, if this is going to cost X dollars, we want to set up a plan to save and take excess cash flow and put it back into these assets. So we typically try to fund from operations, and it may take us a little bit of time to accumulate that money to do that, but we typically set it up to where at any given time, 1, 2, 3 years out, we know what those projects are. We know what the estimated cost is, and we're saving for those.
Okay, so I mean, it's all about planning, and so interest rates almost don't matter.
We try, because we are just really, as far as the way we operate, fiscally, we just try to keep debt off the balance sheet. We try to keep it as debt free as possible, and that's why we just really try to be more really disciplined as far as, here are the projects we want to do, the cost, and not just and we rank the projects. So we look at them in terms of net present value and things like that, the return on investment, payback. We look at all those things. Now, obviously, something like a renovation or a major renovation, then that's something that we would borrow. Now, the league has various financing programs that can help that out. So we would look at that first. As far as if we didn't have sufficient cash flow saved up, we would look at league financing programs where, the fortunate thing with the league is you get the best interest rates, because the credit facilities that they provide are consortiums of the biggest banks in the country. So that really helps us out in that respect, is that we get to, if we have a major expenditure, we can look at league financing, and that helps us. And we've done that in the past. And there's waiver programs where they give you certain waivers, from certain expenditures. So that's what we typically, the smaller projects that we can fund on our own out of operations, we do it that way. And then when we start to get into the bigger things, we look at, how much can we fund from operations, and then how much do we need to look at league programs first, and then, secondary financing, private bank financing, after.
So let's look at the other side of the equation, because the Chiefs generate revenue from multiple sources. There are media rights, sponsorships, ticket sales, but you've also got a changing landscape of the NFL. You've got TV deals, and everything's changing. How can a team capitalize on all this stuff and continue to generate the kind of revenue you've generated previously?
So I think what we're really seeing in the league is, you've got your traditional, linear TV. You've got those contracts are locked in through 2031. So with all of our big broadcast partners. So we know what those are. But what we're seeing and what we're trying to do as a league is start to move more into the streaming world, live streaming. And that's why you're seeing us do more internationally. Like, we're going to have games in Spain, Ireland, Germany, UK, this season. Following season, we're probably going to have a game. The league will have games in Australia, UK, Germany, Spain, Ireland. So you're going to see more that international slate expand. And what you're doing there is on traditional TV in the US, you've got 340 million people. That's your audience. That's your total audience. When you expand to these live streaming platforms, then you've got 8 billion people. So now you've got a much, much bigger pool to go after. And playing those games internationally are one of the first steps to doing that. So when we play in those markets and we develop that market and we create that better, stronger connection with those fans in those markets, now we have the ability to go back and capitalize on live streaming rights as a league. And so that gets shared equally amongst all 32 clubs. So that's where we see, that's how we capitalize on some of what's happening now in the broadcast and streaming worlds. To be able to capitalize on it, we have to really increase our international footprint and play more games internationally.
So let me take you back, because we talked a lot about fan experience, and I should have asked you, as it relates to ticket sales. Ticket prices across the NFL have gone up significantly over the last few years. How does that play into the Chiefs' ability to maintain and satisfy fans and maintain the experience?
Well, I think what happens is it's the ticket prices have increased across the league. Yeah, we've seen that. Just like as with inflation, with other goods and services, consumer goods, you've seen it increase. But I think what happens is, as you provide you provide a good product, then fans will pay for that. And I think as long as they feel the value proposition is there, I'm paying more for my ticket, but I'm getting more. So I'm getting a great product on the field. I'm getting this great fan experience. You're giving me options to tailgate. When we're in the playoffs, you're giving me these great halftime shows. You're giving me brand new seats. You're giving me this new Hall of Honor experience. You're giving me new video boards and things like that. So I think as long as you keep upgrading the experience along with those ticket prices, the fans feel like they're getting something for it. So I feel that's the important thing, is as long as they perceive the value is there, they will pay for it.
Apparently, that's correct, given the success that the Chiefs continue to have at Arrowhead Stadium. But with respect to not just ticket prices, but all of revenue streams that the Chiefs utilize, are you looking at creative approaches such as dynamic pricing models?
So we've implemented dynamic pricing, and we really looked at a number of teams, a while back, and what other teams were doing in other leagues. And we looked at also the airline industry, which has been using dynamic pricing. And we found that it was really beneficial for us, for our fans. And it's been something that we've had for a while now, and it's worked well. Because what we were able to do too was look at how we price each game. And so even if you buy a season ticket, we look at the preseason games, which we were pricing under before, pre-dynamic and variable pricing. We were every game was priced the same. So if your season ticket cost $1,000 and you got 10 games, every game was $100. But now the preseason games are priced lower. So when you have somebody that buys a season ticket and they want to split it up, because we get fans that buy a season ticket and they split it up and they sell off some of the games to other fans or other people they know. And now they can price appropriately each game. So if they want to do that, or if they want to have a season ticket partner come in with them, and you buy these games, I'll keep these games. So it allows a better alignment of market value for each game for us and for our fans. So we found that that's been a benefit, and it's really something that when you go to book your airline ticket or your hotel, you look at the closer you get to it, the price changes. To the departure date, the price can change and fluctuate. And so we look at that, as we play each game, we want to make sure that we're aligning to the value of that game. And we also look at, as far as helping us to be a gauge for pricing, we look at what the secondary market does. So we don't want to be above the secondary market in pricing. We want to be right around. We feel like secondary market is a good barometer of what the market is, what kind of the price elasticity of the market.
So, Dan, we talked a lot about technology in our discussion today. Talk to me about emerging technologies, blockchain, NFTs, digital collectibles. How does that all tie into the team and the stadium, and how you're moving forward?
Sure. So we actually we did a trial with NFTs about 3 or 4 years ago when they were first kind of coming into popularity. We didn't see a whole lot of demand and a whole lot of enthusiasm around it. So we haven't really done anything since. But if there was a case for it moving forward, we would certainly explore it again. Now, as far as blockchain, I think, the ticketing platforms that have just massive volumes are using blockchain, and they may be deploying blockchain and other much more transaction heavy platforms and companies. But ours, we haven't seen a real demand for it. We've actually been looking at blockchain for years, and we just haven't seen it scale down to this level. Or there be a real use case for it at this level, because we just don't have the scale, the volume of transactions. But we certainly do keep an eye on it as something that maybe something that we use in the future. We just really want it to be efficient and effective, and I feel like it just needs to get to a scale that works for us, and so, but we certainly do. I've been keeping an eye and talking to experts on blockchain for years, and I've had conversations with the league about it. And when we were doing NFTs, we were sort of thinking along the lines that might be a catalyst, and maybe blockchain could play in that space. And as we saw, we just didn't see the real demand or excitement around that. So, but those are a couple of things that we'll keep our eye on, and we'll certainly monitor and see if there's a place for those. But blockchain, I'll keep an eye on and see if it scales down to our level to where it makes sense for us.
You know what? That makes an awful lot of sense, and I think that's kind of what I would expect to hear, given where those technologies are going. But the technology that's really on fire, as we all know, is artificial intelligence. It's everywhere, and it's just getting started. How does AI tie into the business model for both the Kansas City Chiefs and the stadium? Are you looking at things like, are you thinking about applying AI to analytics, on-field player performance? Are there other ways of looking at it? And what's the plan? What's the
right? So what we've done, we actually have a committee internally that has been working on AI and solutions for AI in our organization. And the starting point for that is, what problem are you trying to solve? What can we help you do better or do quicker, or have less less labor intensive? How can we help you with things? And so we start with those questions, and we look at, well, what routine tasks do you have that if you could automate those, that you would save time, and you would be able to do higher functions with, higher value functions. So those are areas, and I'll give you a good example. Our team photographer, typically his crew will, on a given game, will snap 100,000 photos. About 1,000 of those photos actually make it to where they're looking at and could use. So we use a program that actually is trained on every player. So it trains the number, the jersey number, it trains the front face, the profiles. And it marries everything together. So it knows, okay, here's a photo of Patrick Mahomes. It knows that that's Patrick. It knows that that's Travis Kelce. So that takes a lot of time off the table for our photography crew to have to go through each one and tag and say, this is Patrick, this is Travis, Chris. So that's one example of how we're using AI to take a really repetitive task, routine task, and make it an automated to where now it's just a matter of just a few minutes that it's gone through and it's tagged every photo that we want to use.
We know the finance function has dramatically changed across all industries over the last 30 years, but specifically in sports and in the NFL. In terms of what you do, how you do, and we just had a conversation, most of which was about technology. 30 years ago, wouldn't have been that conversation. Right? And that said, not only the role of the CFO, but the role of the finance team has also evolved dramatically. How are you finding? Are the Chiefs finding the right people to grow into what is continually an evolving finance department?
Yeah, so we're so blessed that we have such a good pipeline. We've got good connections to universities and to the sort of the pool of applicants and pool of talent out there. We're really blessed because we have that pipeline, and we provide what we want to do is provide the way we go out, recruit, and we retain talent is we want to provide them a culture and an organization where they can learn, they can grow, they can be part of something special. We want this to be a special place. We want this to be, we have a very performance minded culture here where we set, high bars, and we want to, high targets, and we want to achieve those targets. And, we want, so it's a real performance and growth culture where, not only are we performing, but we want to grow as individuals and as a team. And we want to bring people, like we've brought people in as interns that have been promoted all the way up to vice president, that have started with us as an intern and made it to vice president. That's important to us. And that speaks about how, we don't just, it's not a job here. It's an opportunity, and it's a way for you to develop. It's a way for you to grow as a person, as an employee, as a part of this organization, because everybody's important. We don't do this without our people. We don't have success on and off the field without just great people and great teammates. And we get a lot of motivation. We see our team practice on the field, and we get a lot of motivation from that. We see how hard they work and how just really tuned in and how well they practice and how well they do their craft. And we take that same energy and we want to be the same. We want to be that way, whether you're in finance, whether you're in sales, marketing, whatever you're in. We want to be the best at it, and we want to recruit the best, and we want to develop the best talent, and we want to keep people as long as we can. Now the other side of that too, Andy, is we've brought people in at low levels, and they've gone on to become presidents of other organizations.
Wow, that's tremendous.
Yeah, so we feel like we have a really good organization, we have a really good culture, and we're really blessed that we have a great ownership group, the Hunt family. They treat us like family. They take great care of us, and they give us great opportunities, and they support us. So, we offer, a great compensation package. We offer, great tools, great benefits, great educational opportunities. I mean, we have tuition assistance programs. So when we bring somebody in here who's wanting to grow, like I have an individual in one of my departments now that's actually working on his law degree. He's working on a law degree while he's working for us because he feels that will help him do his job better, some of the things that he's tasked with. And we gave him the opportunity. We said, yes, we have a program that we can help you. We can pay some of that tuition. And we've had individuals who have gone on to get their MBAs, who have gone on to finish their degrees and things like that and get second degrees. So it's just something that we take very, very seriously. We want to make sure that we provide the best of everything for our employees and that we train them and that we give them opportunities to learn and develop and grow. And then what that does is that gives us access to a bigger, better pool of talent, because that word gets out that you go work there, look at this individual that started as a staff level person and now is the president of this organization. You're going to grow. You're going to learn at that organization. So, that's something that we really do focus a lot on, is just developing our people and making sure that, when we look at our goals, our strategic goals, one of those strategic goals is employee value. We want our employees to feel valued and to feel like they're getting everything that they can, and that they're giving everything they can as well. And so, it's an important part of our whole culture, and our mission is employee value. So that's why we see the ability to recruit and retain just really good people, because it doesn't work without the people.
Well, yeah, you're absolutely right about that, Dan. And, with a sports team, a lot of what happens on the field is certainly a direct result of what happens in the back office. And when you've got the caliber of people that the Kansas City Chiefs have working in the back office, it's no doubt that you're attracting the kind of the caliber of people who are on the field and having the continued successes that the Chiefs are having. Dan, this has been tremendous. I can't thank you enough for being with me today here on CFO IQ.
You're very welcome. It's been a real pleasure, Andy. I always enjoy it, and just happy to be part of it.
Thank you. And to those of you watching, I want to thank you very much for joining us here today on CFO IQ. If you'd like to know more about Dan Crumb or the Kansas City Chiefs, you can visit the Kansas City Chiefs website online, or you can visit us at cfoiq.com. Further, if you'd like to read the cover story that we published on Dan Crumb and the Kansas City Chiefs a couple of years ago, you can find that at cfointel.com. It's been a pleasure having you with us today, folks. I want to thank you for joining me today, along with Dan Crumb, Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer of the Kansas City Chiefs. Please join us again here on CFO IQ. We'll see you very soon. This has been a production of CFO IQ. If you have topic suggestions, would like to be considered for an interview on CFO IQ, or if you'd like us to consider publishing your story in CFO Intelligence magazine, contact our host, Andrew Zezas, at andrew.zezas@cfointel.com. Thanks for joining us. Watch us wherever you watch your favorite podcasts, or visit us at cfoiq.com to view or listen to our next episode.